Babuji's Mataji's time of Pranam Leadership. We'll resume our chapter 15. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरातुषे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So reading and discussing from Nectar of Devotion, chapter 15. We are seeing the conversation between Narad Muni and Maharaj Yudhishthir, and this is happening during the Rajasuya sacrifice when Krishna was sitting and was selected as the most prominent personality. That time, Yudhishthir Maharaj told Narad Muni that somehow or other remember the form of Krishna. If one remember the form of Krishna out of love, out of um, enmity, out of fear, out of friendship or loving relationship, um, out of devotion, um, one will attain perfection. This is, and Rupa Goswami is further elaborating on this verse. Therefore, by enmity or by devotional service, by fear, by affection, or by lusty desire, by all of these or any one of them, if a conditioned soul somehow or other concentrates his mind upon the Lord, the result is the same. For the Lord, because of his blissful position, is never affected by enmity or friendship. Lord is never affected by by enmity or friendship. Anybody who comes in contact with the Lord becomes purified. One example is given of a sun. A sun can purify the stool or any filthy places without getting impacted. Likewise, because the Lord is like the sun, all pure. Anybody who comes in contact becomes purified. Okay, now this is something that we discussed last week. Mm. Now continuing. Commentary on this verse by Rupa Goswami. When it is said that the object of attainment, both by the enemies and the dear devotees of the Lord, is the same, it means that Sri Krishna and Brahman are identical, as in the comparison of the sun with its ray respectively. So Rupa Goswami says, yes, they both will be purified, but one who is remembering Krishna out of love, friendship, or um, positive feeling will get pure love for Krishna and go back to Goloka, go back to spiritual order. One who remembers Krishna out of fear or enmity, they will also be purified, but they will only get up to Brahman realization or the effulgence of the Lord. And because there is no difference between the sun and the sun rays. For example, right now we can say sun is here. The sun is setting, but it's still here. But the sun is not here. The sun rays is here. But we are saying the sun is here. So technically there is no difference between, we say sun is coming out, but only the sun has come out. But actually we may not be seeing the sun. We are seeing only the rays. So there is just like there is a difference and there is no difference. Likewise, there is a difference between Brahman and Bhagwan realization, yet there is no difference. So in that way, the result is the same. This is the first commentary. Then this is from Brahmanda Puran. Those who have achieved liberation from material contamination and those who are demons and are killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead become absorbed in Brahman conception of life and reside in the spiritual sky of Brahma Jyoti. So either one is killed by Krishna or one has attained liberation from all material contaminations. One has attained liberation. He also from material contamination. He also becomes qualified by Brahman, or those who are being killed by the Lord also becomes qualified by Brahman. So many yogis, so many spiritualists do so much austerities and they meditate on Brahman for years and years and years, or sometimes lifetimes of austerities and um, attain Brahman realization. And those killed by the Lord also attain Brahman realization. This is Brahmanda Puran proving that those who remember Lord, those who are killed by the Lord, basically Shishupal, Kamsa, uh, who were concentratedly remembering the Lord out of fear and enmity, attain the liberation like these Brahman realized people. Um, mm, um, Basically, it is said that devotional service should be favorable. One should remember the Lord favorably. Um, unfavorable devotional service we can never lead us to Goloka. Um, Although it is still beneficial, any form, any way we remember Krishna, even out of anger, is beneficial for us in one way, but it is not. Yeah, the result is this is the same yet not the same. The enemies of Lord Hari mostly merge in the Brahman. Very rarely, some of them, having a glimpse of the Sarupya of the Lord of equal beauty, are sunk into prema. So it is said mostly Brahman, although exceptions may be there. That from Brahman one can um, get into Sarupya Mukti, although extremely rare. If one somehow or other gets a glimpse of the Lord, or somehow or other, I don't know the examples or cases, but there is a possibility, but it is very rare. From Brahman, we can go up. But Prabhupada says, from Brahman, if we do sadhana, because we are individual souls there is a possibility of going up, but it is very rare. Different destinations. Sri Sukadev Goswami to King Parikshit, if Shishupal could attain moksha and merge himself in the body of Lord Sri Krishna by cherishing hatred and enmity towards him. What more have I to tell you, O king, about the gopis of Braja? So, um, in the 10th canto, Sukadeva Goswami says, Shishupal, out of enmity, he he hated Krishna, very envious of Krishna. Um, he also entered into Lord Krishna and his Brahman effulgence. What to speak about the gopis, the Braja gopis, um, who favorably loved Krishna. Rama Prabhu, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Yes,
Prabhuji, but you always explain that nobody will be merged uh, into the
Ah,
body of Lord Sri Krishna, right?
ah,
And here it is quoting that Shishupala was able to merge himself in the body of Lord Sri Krishna.
ah.
So I'm not able to understand that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Rama Prabhu. So, what happened, Prabhu, when Krishna released the Sudarshan Chakra? It cut off the head of Shishupal. Then, when everybody was watching, the soul from Shishupal came, entered into Krishna's body. And as it is described in Brahmanda Puran, he attained, he entered into the body of Krishna, means he entered into Brahman effulgence. And entered into Brahman effulgence, or some people say merge into Brahman effulgence. Um, they still are individual, no desire, no hankering, free from material pangs of misery, liberated state, um, alone, floating for unlimited time, still an individual living being. But they entered into the body of Krishna in that way. But soul never ceased to exist. Or merges does not mean he and Krishna becomes one and the soul cease to exist. It's not like that. But Srila Prabhupada says in the state of liberation, um, the soul becomes one in desire. Even Golok Vrindavan, the soul becomes one in desire. One in desire means whatever Krishna wants, they desire. So, for example, sometimes Madhumanga says, Krishna, Addu, so I'm hungry. But then, when Krishna is hungry, then the Gopas wanted to feed Krishna. So they are one in desire. Whatever Krishna wants to do, they will demand, but they don't want for themselves, they want for Krishna. In that way, one in desire. Like even pure devotees, whatever Krishna wants, they also start desiring that because Krishna is sitting in their heart. So there is like oneness and desire. All right, Rama Prabhu.
Clear, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Vinay here.
Vinay Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, just quickly, can you explain Brahman, Bhagavan, and Paramatma? Just differences between these three. Just to refresh, I have some understanding, but I just want to cross validate.
Yeah, so Prabhu, Brahman is the effulgence, the aura of the Lord.
Is
Um,
it personal or impersonal, Prabhuji?
it is impersonal because there is no direct relationship with Krishna. The example of Brahman effulgence is given in Bhagavad Gita also, where Arjuna saw the universal form of Krishna. And then he saw, then Sanjay is telling, um, if we see together hundreds and thousands of suns at once, they may equal the tej or the effulgence of this universal form. So that shows, and Sanjay is like, what is this I am seeing? But Rajana was saying, that is like the Brahman effulgence. Um, it is impersonal, it is light, it is between material and spiritual world. Those killed by Krishna go there and remain as 1/10,000th tip of a hair floating there. There are unlimited living entities there who desire that Brahman effulgence. It's a state, it's a liberated state still, but none of them have any interaction with each other. It's like they're all like particles, and they are all kind of absorbed in remembrance of Brahman, completely peaceful, no material pangs, no hankering, no desires. And like, sometime, yeah, it's like that. Um, Paramatma is Vishnu who is sitting in our heart in a four-handed form. Prabhupada says for devotees, Paramatma is replaced by Krishna himself for devotees. But generally, the four-handed form of Vishnu residing in the heart of all living entities, who is actually Shirodakshaya Vishnu, he is Paramatma. Uh, from him comes remembrance, forgetfulness. He checks and knowledge. He checks everybody's karma and may sanction some desire, may not sanction some desire. Then, based on karma, he may give some happiness or he may give some distress. Based on karma, the next body is also awarded. So, in a way, he is the one who he is one, yet he appears as many in the heart of all living entity. He is localized, means he is present at a location which is in the heart. So that's why he is called localized. That's Paramatma realization. Paramatma realization realizes Narayan. So their destination is Vaikuntha, where they see 400 form of Narayan. Brahman realization realizes effulgence. So they are at the periphery of spiritual world, Brahman. And Bhagwan realization is they see the Lord as a personality in the spiritual world. Okay, Krishna is a person, Krishna has his pastimes and everything. Brahman also comes from him, Paramatma also comes from him. He is the source of all, the cause of all, the source of everything. Um, um, Good?
So, in terms of potency, Prabhuji, Paramatma and Bhagwan, they would not be the same, right?
No. Paramatma is a feature, na? Krishna is complete.
Okay.
Paramatma is a portion of portion of portion. Bhagwan is the, yeah. All right.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you,
Okay. So
Prabhuji. Oh,
different
sorry, Prabhuji, Paramatma is personal or impersonal?
personal Prabhuji.
Personal, right? Yes. Okay.
But
Thank you.
see, one difference between Paramatma and Bhagwan Prabhu. Bhagwan, there is a service. Paramatma, only meditation, appreciation, absorption. Tears will come, ecstasy will be there. But Bhagwan is like active seva. Srila Prabhupada says Bhakti is about active seva. It's not passive meditation. Paramatma realization is like yogis, more like they go in samadhi in passive meditation. But Mother Yashoda is constantly serving Krishna like Bhagwan realization. So Paramatma realization ends at, okay, now I realize God. Bhagwan realization begins with, I know God, now let me serve him. Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So different destinations for Shishupal and for Braja Gopis. Um, Narad Muni continued, by devotional service one cannot achieve such intense absorption in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one can through enmity toward him. That is my opinion. So Narad Muni says it is true that out of adverse emotions, the concentration on Krishna may be even more intense. Like, if there is fear, like for example, something comes, some people have fear now, maybe of snake or whatever. Fear is there, or of a height, maybe some people. And when this is like deep concentration, or if we really hate somebody, then we'll like intensely remembering that person with anger. I mean, should not do that. Just um, Shishupal had that hatredness. The concentration may be more intense. Narad said, in my opinion, the concentration is more intense. Still, it is not bhakti. And by devotional service, like by hearing, chanting, the remembrance may come, but by fear, or the remembrance may be even more intense. Um, the example of a grass worm confined in a hole of a wall by a bee. The grass worm confined in a hole of a wall by a bee always thinks of a bee in fear and enmity, and later becomes a bee simply because of such remembrance. So what happens? A grass worm, na? A grass worm actually becomes a bee. A grass worm is like the bee brings the grass worm and put it in a hole, and the grass worm thinks this bee will eat me or will harm me. So grass worm is like afraid. He's like caught up, and he's like he feels like maybe the food or whatever, and out of enmity and hatredness he concentrates very deeply on the bee, and because of that the grass worm turns into a bee. Narad Muni says the power of remembrance, that the grassworm takes the form only. A grassworm confined in a hole of a wall by a bee always thinks of the bee in fear and enmity, and later becomes a bee simply because of such remembrance. Similarly, if the conditioned soul somehow or other think of Krishna, who is Satchidananda Vigraha, they will become free from their sins, whether thinking of him as a worshipable Lord or an enemy. Because of constantly thinking of him, they will regain their spiritual position. So just like he's thinking of bee and becomes a bee, likewise, because Krishna is Sachitananda, transcendental, eternal, pure, by any means one thinks of him, he'll attain the same. Further explanation of how thinking of Krishna is so is leads one to become like him or liberation. Then the Prabhupada speaks about the lusty desires in the Braja Gopis. Prabhupada said the lusty attitude of the gopis does not refer to any sort of sex indulgence. Srila Rupa Goswami explains that this lusty desire refers to the devotee's particular attitude of association with Krishna. So lusty desire basically means calm. Calm basically means they love Krishna as a boy. They were attracted to Krishna's smile, Krishna's flute. So that kind of Krishna, loving Krishna, it was pure love. um, but anybody can love, na? Love, a friendship also has love, parental also has love. So love is a common term, anybody can have. So to distinguish Gopi's love for Krishna, it is described like just like a husband or just like a lover. So that's how it is described, calm out of like seems like a lusty attitude. But it, and also Prabhupada says in spiritual world there is no sex desire. Prabhupada says everything there is pure love. They want to love Krishna and in a certain way, and Krishna reciprocates, pure. The lusty attitude of the gopis does not refer to any sort of sex indulgence. Srila Rupa Goswami explains that this lusty desire refers to the devotee's particular attitude of association with Krishna, like a lover. Every devotee in his perfectional stage has a spontaneous attraction to the Lord. This attraction is sometimes called the lusty desire of the devotee. The lust is the devotee's excessive desire to serve the Lord in a particular capacity. Prabhupada says here lust refers to they deeply want to serve Krishna. Like, like Narottam Das Thakur you were hearing in uh, one of the previous Lala Samai Prarthana, when we were discussing prayers, we were discussing three kinds of prayers. One of them is Lala Samai. And Narottam Das Thakur is telling, when will I serve Radha and Krishna in this way? Taking the permission from Lalita and Vishakha. I will put chandan, I will put garland, I will feed them tambula. When will I serve the divine couple in this way? So Prabhupada says intense desire to serve Krishna in a particular way is referred here as lusty desire, real desire to serve Krishna. Okay. In the material world, there is no such thing as a lover's wanting to please the senses of the beloved. Actually, in the material world, everyone wants mainly to gratify his own personal senses. The gopis, however, wanted nothing at all but to gratify the senses of the Lord. And there is no instance of this in the material world. Therefore, the gopis' ecstatic love for Krishna is sometimes described as by scholars as being like the lusty desire of the material world. But actually, this should not be taken as a literal fact. It is simply a way of trying to understand the transcendental situation. So there is a difference between love of the Braj Gopis and love in this world. Prabhupada says, love here, no one is trying to please the senses of the beloved. Here, everything is lust because all relationships are based on me in the center. My pleasure, senses, my pleasure, my senses should be satisfied. I am the center. Um, and the relationship is like, okay, you give me pleasure, I'll give you pleasure. So we both have love for each other. But both are using the others as an instrument to give pleasure to themselves. Um, like how sometimes Prabhupada says, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back, and let both of us be happy. But this is lust actually. Lust means to satisfy one's senses, but love means only for the pleasure of beloved. So it may seem like the gopis. This is a transcendental subject matter. There is a book by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It's called Prema Samputa. Prem Samputa means understanding the love in the spiritual world. And the love is said as something which is done only for the pleasure of Krishna. So here we see um, um, the gopis when they are giving play when they are with Krishna, like some of them is feeding, some of them is dancing, like you see in a picture. They are doing different things with Krishna, um, but they all are doing this because they know that it will give pleasure to Krishna. In fact, it is said that sometimes Srimati Radharani becomes angry, and she knows that when I become angry like this, it will give more pleasure to Krishna. So she becomes angry with Krishna. And sometimes Krishna left Radharani and goes somewhere else. And then Radharani becomes मान में जाते हैं वो मान मतलब she becomes like angry again. And the reason for Radharani's anger, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur describes, is because she knows that Krishna will not be happy. Krishna can be happy only with me, because she knows that she can only perfectly serve Krishna. And if Krishna is somebody else because of some situation, then Krishna will be thinking of her and he won't be happy. So she becomes unhappy because Krishna will not be happy. This is a very deep subject matter, but the idea is there is absolutely zero desire for one's own pleasure. Krishna is doing everything to please the gopis, and gopis are doing everything to please Krishna. So material world is completely opposite. The girl does everything so that she can be happy. The boy does whatever so that he can be happy, and they both are independent enjoyer. But there, both of them want to serve the beloved. So that's why they're everything like. So that's a transcendental. That is pure. So that is compared to like fire, and this is like contamination in this world. That's why it is said there is hardly. Prabhupada says in this material world there is no such thing as lovers wanting to please the senses of the beloved. Everyone is trying to please oneself only. Okay, so um, that just to help us explain that how lusty desire is just lusty desire when it is said of the gopis, it's like to make us understand the kind of a relationship, but it is completely opposite. The nature of love and the nature of lust are completely opposite. Unfortunately, persons who cannot understand the transcendental nature of the love affairs of the gopis and Krishna take it for granted that Krishna's love affairs with the gopis are mundane transactions, and therefore they sometimes indulge in painting licentious pictures in some modernistic style. So sometimes Prabhupada says people misunderstand the transcendental loving situation, so they paint Krishna and show Krishna as a lusty god and gopis as lusty girls in that way. This is Prabhupada says like licentious pictures in some modernistic style. Prabhupada says these are they engage in such painting, but they cannot understand. Actually, painting also reflects the consciousness of a person. When they paint Krishna and gopis, you see in this painting, it is very pure actually. Why? Because that it is painted by a devotee. But when you see the picture of Krishna and the gopis painted by not a pure person, our heart will also get lust actually by seeing the painting. That shows that that painting is not made in a pure consciousness. Real painting, like how these paintings were made, na, Srila Prabhupada himself said how the expression of Krishna should be, how the expression of Gopi should be, what their activity should be. And Prabhupada would give that vision to them, the vision of pure love. And they would realize Prabhupada's vision and they would draw out of love for Krishna and understanding the transcendental nature. That's why these paintings are divine. They will invoke devotion actually. And the paint is con paintings, but otherwise like uh, um, um, there is one instance where um, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj he met a professor and he was like professor of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He was doing his PhD in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So he met Radhanath Maharaj and he told Maharaj, why do you worship Krishna when Krishna is such a lusty god? So um, Maharaj said, Maharaj did not say anything. Then the professor said, yeah, I have read Geet Govind, I have read everything. And I can see how Krishna is such a lusty god. Um, then Maharaj said something like, I don't remember exactly Maharaj's answer, but Maharaj asked something like, did you do your LKG, UKG? You went to first grade, second grade, 12th grade, then you did bachelor, then you did your master, then you did your PhD. So if somebody is at the level of first grade, second grade, what can he understand the subject matter of PhD? So likewise, these books that describes the pastimes of Krishna, like the 10th canto of Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita or Geet Govinda or other books by the Goswamis, these are like PhD. It is actually for the liberated souls in a way, or those who are very carefully trying to understand Krishna through tattva. So only those people can understand because their conceptions have changed. Um, uh, and Srila Prabhupada also says that when we think about Krishna and gopis and they are dancing, and if we think about our relationship with some woman in this world, maybe our wife or maybe somebody friend or whatever, while thinking of Krishna and gopis, if we think of our relationship with somebody in this world, then by default we have brought Krishna to our platform. This is like completely opposite. Um, purposes. Unfortunately, people who cannot understand the true love, the transcendental nature of love affairs, like one devotee. That's why I said one should read, especially these subject matter. One should read very carefully and under guidance. One devotee I know, I mean, he was practicing, and then he um, read by himself everything. And then he had similar opinion about Krishna and the gopis, um, that uh, um, that the gopis were lusty. He said, "I told him, Prabhu, I don't want to talk to you. We'll talk some other time. Right now, no." He said, "No, no, I can prove it's written." I said, "No, Prabhu, I don't want to talk to you." So it's like when we don't get the basics and we get into these subject matter, then that is what happens actually. Okay. The difference between mundane calm, which is lust in
Prabhuji,
this world. Yes.
uh,
Vinay
Ji,
Prabhu, yes.
like with the material consciousness which we have, should we even like try to understand these leelas, or it's like 15, 20, 30 years beyond our understanding when we should even try to meditate on these?
Amazing, Prabhu. Amazing question. So, Prabhuji, how Prabhupada said is, Prabhupada said, we should not try to read the 10th canto. We should go from first canto to ninth canto. And first we understand whom we are talking about. The same Lord Krishna whose expansion is Rama, whose expansion is Nrsimhadev, whose expansion is, and by remembering him, um, how, like, the greatness of that personality whom we are talking about, who can remove the material desires. Nrsingadev, Prahlad Maharaj prays to Lord Nrsingadev. If there's any material desire, please remove from my heart. That is one of the expansion of Krishna. So when we are talking about the supreme pure, so Prabhupada says first understand the kind of devotees like Prahlad, Dhruva, and Ambarish Maharaj, and their pure devotion to Krishna. And then finally, we are entering into the subject matter of the life of Sri Krishna, the eternal pastimes of Sri Krishna, and how they are eternally pure because the consciousness is purified through first nine cantos. Now, in the 10th canto also, some chapters are very intimate in the 10th canto. In fact, when I was first reading, then Yugal Kishore Prabhuji told me you can read 10th canto, skip the five chapters in the middle from chapter number 27 to 31. Skip those five chapters, rest you can read. And then I did that. I read the remaining and then I read 11 because those are very intimate. Then I read 11th canto, then I read 12th canto. And then after some time, then Prabhuji told me that now you can read those chapters also. Now you can read this also. Um, um, but Saraswati Thakur, one time he said, Saraswati Thakur said, one can try to understand these pastimes of Lord Krishna after 15 to 20 years of chanting 16 rounds. This is one thing Saraswati Thakur said. And Saraswati Thakur said we must understand these because this is what Mahaprabhu came to give. This is the epitome. These five chapters of Bhagavatam, they are called Rasa Panchadhyay. They are called as the heartbeat of Bhagavatam or the epitome of Bhagavatam or the most important aspect of Bhagavatam. That's why we are hesitant to even discuss about this subject matter during Sharad Purnima. We just sing Gopi Geet, Jayati Te Dikam Janmada Varja, but we don't really discuss because it's very hard to fathom, to grasp. But then Saraswati Thakur says these pastimes of the Lord are not for Sahajiyas, they are for devotees. They are for all of us. Um, we have the right to understand Krishna because we are practicing loving devotion to Krishna. The Goswamis have not written these for Sahajiyas. Sahajiyas are those who take the subject matter cheaply and they say Krishna danced, so I will also dance with somebody else's wife. They have taken Krishna consciousness, so they have taken it so cheaply, and then they are engaging in breaking regulative principles in the name of bhakti. And that's how Mahaprabhu's mission was actually diluted over time. This is like this happens in every tradition kind of. So that's why, but then Saraswati Thakur says these pastimes of Krishna are not for Sahajiyas. These pastimes of Krishna are for sincere devotees. Still, one should not approach them till 15 to 20 years of 16 rounds of chanting. And then Prabhupada says, if you want to approach them, one Saraswati Thakur never spoke about these pastimes. And then Saraswati Thakur spoke one time when he was in Vrindavan and he said, today I will speak about these things because you all should know that there is something like this in our Gaudiya Siddhanta, in our tradition. And as far as it comes to meditating on that pastime, that is more of a little advanced stage, Prabhuji. First comes, like Prabhupada says, after we practice 50 to 20 years, then we can carefully hear and understand, carefully approach, carefully. Try to understand because we are dealing with the highest subject matter now. Very careful. And then develop an understanding of what is pure love. Then Saraswati Thakur also says, if we don't know that, then we will never have a desire to go there. So we must understand what happens in the village of Lord Krishna. Who is Krishna? Through this, we understand Krishna's personality, Krishna's loving exchanges, the sweetness of Krishna. So first, we try to understand the greatness of Krishna, how Krishna is God. At one point of time, we want to understand the sweetness of Krishna. When where there is Yamuna, where there is Govardhan, where there is pastimes, the sweetness. That one day will attract our heart. And that attraction will remove our attraction to this world and intensify our desire to go back. So we must understand these things, but everything comes at a right time. Did I address Vinay Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, so somebody asked me this question. I said I'm not qualified even to discuss.
Great, Prabhu. Excellent. One time, Srila Prabhupada went with many of his disciples. I think you may have heard, but he went with some of his disciples, and it was some rich man's home. So Prabhupada is a pure devotee of Krishna. So he asked Swamiji, so can you tell me about Ras Leela? How Krishna performs Ras Leela? Then Prabhupada said, Prabhupada was very straightforward. Prabhupada said, "You are not qualified." So he was hurt actually. He said, "I am not qualified." Uh, then, then he said, "Prabhupada, I may not be qualified, but your disciples are qualified. They are sincerely practicing. So can you describe Krishna's Ras Leela for so that they can understand?" And then Prabhupada stopped and Prabhupada put his head down. Prabhupada said, "I am not qualified to discuss about this." So um, the moment we discuss about these subject matter, anxiety will come in our heart. In fact, we should, I mean, I want to say we should never discuss about these pastimes. If we have to discuss, first, okay, we are liberated souls or like pure. Prabhupada says, yeah, you can discuss when you're free from dust in your heart. Prabhupada said. But when we have become pure, na, like it takes one to know one. When we are not pure, how can we understand pure, pure pastimes of Krishna when we are not pure? But at the same time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did say that we can discuss these pastimes in a very intimate assembly, but not openly. But again, there is a restriction with whom we can discuss, with whom we cannot discuss. One should be very careful. If you discuss with somebody who is not qualified, we will lose our taste also. So these are very sensitive subject matter.
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, brought up some topic which causes anxiety in my heart also. But yeah. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, now further the difference between mundane calm and transcendental calm. Like both are referred to as calm. One can, if somebody who remember Krishna out of calm, so Prabhupada says the difference between mundane calm and transcendental calm. Love of pure devotee for Krishna is most wholesome, ever fresh, ever increasing, and all blissful. Pure devotee love for Krishna in any relationship, ever fresh, ever increasing, all blissful. This is like how pure devotee, whatever relationship, all blissful, like. Whereas love in the mundane world between any two earthly objects, be they man or woman, or birds and animals, is unwholesome, perverse, pain giving, stale, transitory, and ugly in the end. It is not wholesome, it is perverse, it is reflection, it is not real. And then it gives pain, that relationship. It becomes stale. Eventually, there is no more rasa in that. It's transitory, looks like and then gone. It's not really there. It's not there forever. It's there sometime, and sometime hatredness is there. Sometime love is there, not love, sorry. Lust is there, and another time hatredness is there for the same person. And then it becomes ugly in the end. So this is the unwholesome love, or the love in the so-called love in the mundane world. But love for Krishna is like ever increasing, ever fresh, ever increasing. No love in this world is ever increasing. It starts from one level and keeps on decreasing only. Um, all blissful. Love, pure devotee's love for Krishna is all blissful. Pure devotee love for Krishna is ever fresh. Every day they can think of Krishna, and it will be like newer and newer rasas, newer and deep attachment. It is wholesome. Then one must draw a clear line of demarcation between prema in the transcendental realm and kama in the material or mental worlds. They sound similar, but they are not identical. They sound similar. Um, from a common point of view, they look similar. Krishna's Ras Leela um, and affairs in this world, um, unauthorized affairs in this world, they may look similar. Of course, there is no sex there, and there is only love. But still, there may be some commonality. There's a boy, there's a girl, there's a boy, there's a girl, like that. Um, they sound similar, but they are not identical. There is a clear line of demarcation between what prema is, which is in the transcendental realm, and what kama is in material world. The midday bright sun is not the dense darkness is not the dense darkness of the midnight of the last day of the dark fortnight. Prema is the brightest sun and Kama is the darkest midnight. On a Amavasya, darkest hour, maybe midnight, Amavasya, midnight, compared to the brightest sun. So that is the difference between pure love and um, um, lust covered by the three modes, and pure love which is transcendental. So there is a gulf. It's not difference, it's opposite. Okay. um, any question up till now? Okay. Now kama rupa. Three kinds of kama rupa. It's going to become a little bit more complex now. So there is samanjasa rati in Braja, there is samanjasa rati in Dwarka, and there is sadharani rati in Mathura. Samanjasa rati in Braja is okay. It may sound complex, but it's really not complex. But try to give a receptive ear. Samanjasa rati, actually, they are. I don't think they are both called samanjasa. But anyways, I will double check. But samanjasa rati in Braja is only desire to please Krishna. Like um, gopis, Radharani, their only desires to please Krishna in Braja. Then in Dwarka, occasional desire for loving sport with the Lord, like Rukmini and others. They sometimes want to um, like have a loving sport with Krishna. They sometimes have that desire. It'll be very nice if I'm with Krishna, if Krishna comes to me. So they have some slight tinge of occasional desire for loving sport with Krishna. But it is said it is still under the realm of prema, because they want to sport not with anybody else but only with Krishna. But still, by sporting with Krishna, they want to please Krishna majority, and slightly they also wants to relish the the company of Krishna slightly. Maybe the fragrance of Krishna. I mean, all the qualities of Krishna are great. So there is some occasional desire for one's own pleasure, for loving sport with the Lord. And then Sat in Mathura, Kubja desired to enjoy the personality of Sri Krishna. So Kubja, you all, if you don't know the passing of Kubja, Kubja used to make oils for Kans. So Krishna came. She was a hunchbacked woman walking like this. So Krishna came and uh, Krishna says, "Hey, you are carrying some very fragrant oils. Do you mind lending some of yours to us for me and my friends?" So Kubja looked at Krishna, and Krishna was so attractive. Then Kubja was like, could not, like, she became like completely enamored by Krishna's beauty, and she became lost in a way. So she gave all the oils, and she said, "They are all for you only, for Shama, and they are for all your friends. This is all for you." Then Krishna took the oils, and all of them, they smeared the oil, and they were very, very fragrant oils. So Krishna and everybody were very pleased. Then Kubja started tucking the upper cloth corner of Krishna, like, "Shh." And then Kubja said to Krishna that, please come to my home. Then everybody started laughing. Then Krishna sort of started smiling. Krishna said, not now, Kubja, some other time. Right now I have to go and kill Kans. Right now I'm on a mission. Some other time. He didn't have to go and kill Kans. But right now we have to go. We are invited to the festival of Bo. We have to go and participate. And yeah, he said about that. And then some other time, Kubja. And then Krishna, um, because she rendered some service to Krishna, Krishna put his toe on her toe, and Krishna put his hand on Kubja's chin. And then did like gave her a jerk. And by the touch of Krishna, she became extremely beautiful, young, straight, like one of the beautiful women in Mathura, one of the most beautiful women in Mathura. And then Kubja was very grateful. But the reason it is mentioned as Sadharani Rati, Sadharan means Sadharan. Sadharan means Kubja desired to enjoy the personality of Sri Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says Gaudiya Vaishnavism is not like Dwarka and Mathura. It's not like we are trying to do devotional service to Krishna to enjoy with Krishna or in Dwarka occasionally. But Braja is the highest because it is absolute service, Braja, with zero desire to enjoy, but wholeheartedly. So that's why Braj Prem is the highest. And Braj Prem is superior to the Prem in Dwarka and the Prem in Mathura. In Dwarka and Mathura, both have some desire to enjoy, but only with Krishna, nobody else. That's why it comes under the still under the umbrella of prema. But Braj don't even have that. That why Braj gopis are the highest. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the highest exhibition of love is the Braj gopis because they have like the deepest love with absolute zero desire to enjoy. It's absolutely pure, and that's why it is the highest. And Mahaprabhu followers are following that level of pure love. So these are three kinds of Kama Rupa in Mathura, in Dwarka, and in Braja. Any questions, discussions? Now endowed with beauty, character. This is about Kubja. Now endowed, like you see the picture of Krishna. He stepped on the toe of Kubja and put his finger on the and gave her a jerk, and she became very beautiful, young, um, decorated, and carrying some oils. So now endowed with beauty, character, and generosity, Trivikra referred to Kubja. So now she became beautiful, full of character, and very generous, and she developed all the qualities with the touch of Krishna. So Trivikra began to feel lusty desires for Lord Keshava. Taking hold of the end of his upper cloth, she smiled and addressed him as follows: Come, O hero, let us go to my house. I cannot bear to leave you here, O best of males. Please take pity on me, since you have agitated my mind. Um, but Krishna didn't go though. According to this statement of Sri Shukadeva, it is quite clear that Kubja had her passionate desires for the person of the Lord alone, and therefore her loving attachment or rati for the Lord, though much inferior to the pure and self-effacing highest prema of the Braj Gopis, is called partial, as she had also a partial intention for the pleasure of the Lord as well. She wanted, her desire was Krishna will be happy and I will be happy. Partially I will be happy, partially Krishna will be happy. That's why her love is inferior to the Braj Gopis. And it is also mentioned like, there is a lot of glorification of Mirabai in there are many movies on Mirabai, but Prabhupada says that we don't follow Mirabai because Mirabai also has a desire in her songs. We will see that she also has a desire to enjoy Krishna's personality. She wanted Krishna as her husband. Uh, she wanted to love only Krishna, but in her poems, it's like, when Krishna will come, there is some personal tinge. So Prabhupada says that's why we don't follow Mirabai. We follow Brajagopis. Brajagopis, highest, the highest, nothing beyond that, nothing purer than that. So this verse of Bhagavatam shows that this love is not the pure. Sukadeva Goswami says that. Samanjasa Ratin Braja only desired to please Krishna. On rare occasion, if at all there is slight effervescence of personal enjoyment, it quickly evaporates when they begin serving Krishna. So, uh, Rupa Goswami says, even in Braja Gopis, even if a slightest of the desire comes by seeing Krishna, they feel like, wow. If the slightest desire to enjoy Krishna, personal enjoyment, if it comes slightly, um, when they start serving Krishna, it quickly evaporates. It's like comes and gone forever. So even a thought may come and it'll just go away when they start serving Krishna. But the only desire there is how can I please him? How can I please? He's my beloved. How can I serve him? How can I please him? What can I do for him? That's the only thing that is prevalent in the consciousness of Braja Gopis. Braj Gopis' love. It has been observed that in spite of any ripple of thirst for self-enjoyment ever arising in the heart of the damsels of Braja, it has been observed that in spite of any ripple of thirst for self-enjoyment ever arising in the heart of the damsels of Braja, it is immediately ignored. जैसे लाइक जैसे ही वो कोई विचार भी आए ना immediately चला जाता है ignored it is immediately ignored and all their endeavors are changed into prema for the supreme pleasures of Sri Krishna alone. Thus kama is changed into prema. In other words, kama rupa is an exceptionally extraordinary aspect of prema rupa bhakti only. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary he says that kama rupa of Braj Gopi is like extraordinary prema rupa, but it is just given the word of Kamarupa. Um, and this is from, I think we are second last slide. We'll quickly finish it. Um, unless one follows in the footsteps of the gopis, he cannot. Unless one follows in the footsteps of the gopis. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that one should follow in the footsteps of the gopis. Um, Common people cannot understand this. What does it mean to follow in the footsteps of the gopis? But from this, we'll get some clarity of what it means to follow in the footsteps of the gopis. That's why we see here Radha Madhava. We see all the gopis and Krishna with all the gopis, Srimati Radharani, because their love is the purest. Um, unless one follows in the footsteps of the gopis, he cannot attain the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. Till one cannot attain Krishna in Vrindavan, the lotus feet of Krishna in Vrindavan, one cannot attain that. Um, uh, um, unless one follows in the footsteps of the gopis, how pure their love is. Unless one reaches that point of purity of sacrifice only for the sake of giving pleasure to Krishna, um, one cannot attain the service of the lotus feet of Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj. If one is overcome by knowledge of the Lord's opulence, he cannot attain the Lord's lotus feet, even though he is engaged in devotional service. And so, um, 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 if one is overcome by knowledge of the Lord's opulence, he cannot attain the Lord's lotus feet, even though he is engaged in devotional service. This is another subject matter, maybe for some other day. But idea is, Lord Krishna says that the knowledge of my opulence um, um, diminishes the prema. Opulence diminishes the prema. Like how the mother, the relationship that maybe some Facebook CEO, whoever that person is, whatever, I don't know if he has children or not. Just an example, an employee may see him with awe and reverence, then that love will not be there. But his child or his wife, if he has one, whatever their relationship is, when they will see him, there will not be an opulence. It will be more like it's more intimate. Um, so opulence diminishes the prema. So that's why here Madhya says, if one is overcome by the knowledge of the Lord's opulence, he cannot attain the Lord's lotus feet, even though he is engaged in devotional service. Um, at some point of time, pure love in sweetness, and only that. We love Krishna because we love Krishna. That's why we love Krishna. Not because Krishna is God, not because Krishna can do this and that, not because Krishna like should his universal form. No, we love Krishna because he is so sweet, because he plays his flute, because he's on the bank of Yamuna standing, um, because he performs his pastimes in Govardhan, because he walks in he runs and frolics in the lands with the cows, with the stick and bugle and blow horn and plays. So when only the sweetness aspect of Krishna is capturing our mind and not Krishna's opulence, and then and loving Krishna like the Braja Gopis, that is the way to attain the pure love of Krishna. Okay. So that was the last line. Okay, so how are we doing? How complex was this chapter subject matter?
Very, very deep and confusing only, Guruji. Yes, for sure.
Deep and confusing. Yeah, it's a subject matter which is little bit. All right. We'll end here. Thank you all for joining. Panchakalpatruvesh Kripasindhubhayavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnava Anantakoti Vaishnavendra ki jai. Thank you very much. Dhanyavad. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hemanta Prabhuji ki jai.
Anantakoti Vaishnava. Thank you.